Welcome to the beast I unleash. I'm a motherfucking beast.
What's up, YouTube? So today we have a very special video. I am, wow, very sunburned on my nose. I'm at the beach this week and I'm visiting an amazing gym this week called VBIRONGYM. And I posted a lot about it on my Instagram. If you follow me there, you should follow me on Instagram. It's Marissa Roy Fitness. I'll put it on the screen. But I'm gonna tour you around the gym, show you all the freaking amazing equipment that they have, and we're gonna go right in there. But I'm drinking in my FNC shaker. I have Stars and Pipes, which is the pump product by Miracle Labs. Let's go in. Stop wasting footage now. What's up, guys? So today I want to just feature VBIRONGYM as the main focus of this video. If you ever are crossing through Virginia Beach, the area around Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Virginia, Newport News, and you want to make the trip to this gym, it is 150,000 bajillion million % worth it. You will use equipment that you have never seen before or heard of in your entire life. You're just going to fall in love with the place, I promise. Kenny and Jen are really awesome, so all you have to do to get a day pass is to just DM their Instagram, VBIRONGYM. I'll have that on the screen and all the info for the gym in the description box. So as you can see, it's like a very dark underground sort of feel. There's lots of loud music and it's definitely like a younger crowd's vibe. Very intense, but I did have to mute the music because I can't get this video copyrighted, obviously. So I'm just gonna walk you through all the exercises that I did on the first day that I was here. Leg day, glutes focus, as well as my delt shoulder day, which turned into shoulders and arms because I was just getting kind of excited and playing with everything. So I'm gonna walk you through every single exercise pretty quickly so that I can get through absolutely everything I did in this video for you guys. So first up, I started off with, I think this is called a power squat. Essentially, it's a squat rack machine where you're not loading a free weight bar on your back, you're loading the machine on your back, and it rocks as like a pendulum. And this, guys, is the smoothest thing I have ever used in my entire life. Like, if my gym at home had this, I would not touch a squat rack ever again, because you can load this up pretty heavy and get the same muscles involved as the squat, obviously, but it takes the pressure off of your lower back and you can really get a smooth movement in, and it kind of just adjusts depending on how you like to squat, and it is just so amazing. This is probably my favorite piece of equipment overall that this gym has, and I literally did like 50 sets of it. Next up, I used a leg press machine. Again, I don't remember a lot of the brands, so I'm just gonna go with generic names for this, but I used a leg press, and essentially what you do is you set it up so that you don't hit the safeties as you bottom out, and so you scoot the chair back just enough to where you keep tension the entire time, and then you push out and you release the safeties. Then the machine has a far greater range of motion once you release the safeties. And that's what I loved about all the machines here. They have the best range of motion. So like, you bring your knees up pretty much to your chest rather than other leg presses where it feels uncomfortable or it taxes your lower back to do so. And then the cool thing about this leg press is that you can just flip a lever and it actually turns into a single leg press, which I absolutely love. So I was just doing sets of single leg press with a narrow stance, my foot slightly higher on the platform, but honestly the range of motion with this thing targeted my glutes and hamstrings pretty well on its own without moving my foot placement around, so I did a bunch of sets of that as well. Next up, I moved on to what's called the hip press, which I honestly don't think could have been named any better. The reason why is because it allows a lot of hip flexion and you're not really getting too much knee flexion. You're basically just pushing out of that range of hip flexion, and what hip flexion does, as I've told you guys a billion times before, is it activates your glutes and hamstrings. So bending at the waist is exactly what gets your glutes involved, while bending at the knee can get your quads and hamstrings more involved. So the hip press, appropriately named, Great range of motion. I went very heavy on this. I used like 3 plates per side, so 6 total. It was just so cool that I didn't even have to try that hard to get my glutes involved. I just already felt like the path of motion that this press was putting me on was activating my glutes and hams on its own. So I thought that was really cool. Next up, I moved on to an Avenger leg press. So Avenger is one brand that I do remember because this is apparently a type of equipment, a brand of equipment that is very rare, hard to come by. They don't make much of it anymore, and so this is an Avenger brand leg press. It is Kenny's like favorite leg press in the entire gym, is what he was telling me. And basically what you do is you set it up so that the shoulder pads hold you in and you stay down in the seat. And what I love about all the seats on all the leg presses at this gym is that they all don't put tension on your lower back. Like, I did not have any issues with my lower back getting sore with these leg presses, and that's pretty rare, honestly, because every leg press I've used at home, I just feel my lower back getting aggravated. If you guys didn't know, I did injure my lower back almost exactly a year ago, and it was pretty bad. I couldn't bend over for a couple days at all, but it's prevented me from basically going really heavy on things like squats and deadlifts for the time being. But since I do bodybuild, it's not the utmost priority that I squat max weight. But with things like machines like this, it is really nice to have smooth equipment that doesn't put pressure on that area, even though it's pretty much healed. So with the Avenger leg press, I did a shoulder width stance, and it holds you down, and then again, the range of motion on this thing is ridiculous. I literally brought my knees up to my chest, maybe past my chest, and it just felt so good to get such a deep stretch in my legs. The cool thing about this is that it's plate loaded, and there's plates loaded up on the sides as well as on the back of the little pendulum. So depending on how many plates you put on each of those sides, it kind of determines where the most tension is on the leg press. So if you load it up the most on the back, you're gonna get the most tension on the end of the leg press because the fulcrum is longer. I don't know how else to describe that. And then if you load them up more on the side, you might get more tension at the back of the press where your knees are towards your chest. So I really love this one. I actually used this machine again the next leg day that I did here on Sunday. I loved this thing so much. Probably number 2 on my list from this gym. Then I did a lying hamstring curl machine superset with a Romanian deadlift with a barbell. Nothing special here. The lying hamstring curl machine is an old school type of make here, and I really liked the feel of it. I liked being able to have my hands all the way out in front of me and just kind of holding the bench in front of me. There were handles, but I felt more comfortable doing this, and I just felt a really good contraction in my hamstrings. And then with the Romanian deadlift, I kept the range of motion partial, so I was only staying in the bottom half of the range of motion and not locking out and squeezing my glutes at the top because I'd already done a lot of glute work. They were pretty much fried from all the leg pressing, so I was just trying to keep tensions on the hamstrings as much as I possibly could by not coming all the way up. So there's no right or wrong way, guys, but just make sure that you're doing what is targeting what you want to target for your goals. Next up, I did a leg extension machine. This was Kenny's favorite leg extension, so I had to try it. I did toes pointed in to target the outer quads on this machine, and it was very smooth, very good feel. There were actually no handles to hold on the sides, but it didn't end up being a problem. But the machine was just a very well-made, smooth machine. So if you go to this gym, make sure to try this leg extension out because it's Kenny's favorite. And then next up, I did another superset. I did the kneeling hamstring curl machine superset with walking lunges. This is something that you can find at basically any gym. I've seen this machine at plenty of Golds, plenty of 24-hour fitnesses. They have it at the shop. Different brands, obviously, but a kneeling hamstring curl is one of my favorite hamstring curl machines. This one gave me a really great contraction in my hamstrings, and I just kind of went light and squeezed the shit out of my hamstrings as much as I could, and then superset that with the walking lunges with a long stride and pushing my knee out at the front of that lunge so that I could get the most out of the movement. Involve my hamstrings as much as possible with the long step, as well as involving my abductors with pushing my knee out. So I'm going to try to pick up the pace because I do have an entire upper portion of this video to go through. Next up, I did a vertical leg press. You've seen this at the shop, but this was a different brand of the machine, and it did allow for a greater range of motion than other vertical leg presses that I've used in the past. But I was pretty much dead at this point. My legs were shaking on like the first rep of every set here, but I love my vertical leg press. Really targets the glutes and hams, and this one again did not put pressure on my lower back. Finishing out, did sets of ab and adductor superset with each other. So I would do like 15 to 20 reps of abductors, so pushing out, and then I would switch it to adductors and pushing in, because you don't want to neglect the inside of your thighs either. Even though most people just think about the shelf booty, you gotta work your inner thighs as well, and that'll really show, especially if you're a competitor. When you're lean on stage, if you have been training your adductors, it will show in your definition, so don't neglect them. And then lastly, I did like 10 to 12 sets of donkey calf raises at the end of my workout, just working up the weight every single set until I reached 200 pounds for 11 on the final set, and then called it a day there. That was the leg workout. Let's get into the delt workout right away, not waste any time. First thing I did was a bajillion sets of what is called delta dumbbells. So I did lateral raises and front raises with these, and basically they just flip around with pads up for your forearm, so that it basically takes your forearm and your grip out of the movement, and you're basically just pushing up by the elbow just like you would with a lateral raise machine. I thought this was incredible. I'd never seen something like this before, and I started off my workout with like a billion sets of this because I was just so impressed with this idea. So if anyone has any other gyms in the Nova area with these, let me know, I will stop by. Next up, did a pendulum shoulder press. So this is actually set up a little bit leaned back so that someone who's thicker, for example like a bodybuilder with a thicker torso, would have this feel like a shoulder press, but for me I felt like it was an incline chest press, so I actually just sat with my back off of the seat so I could get the most tension on my shoulders by pressing directly up. But I did really like this machine, very smooth. I've never seen anything like it. It's definitely one of a kind. And yeah, not much else to say about that other than I really enjoyed it. And then I did what they call the ego killer at this gym. So basically it's just another shoulder press machine, but it goes up at sort of an arc. It's called the ego killer because you just really can't push a lot of weight on it. I literally tried to put 10 pounds on it and push, and I couldn't even lift the weight. So I ended up doing 5 pounds on each side and doing sets of like 8 to 10, I think, and it was still so heavy. So definitely an ego killer. Luckily, I wasn't looking to press all the weight in the world, but it was a very smooth machine. The arc path of motion was really cool because that's how you kind of go when you're using dumbbells anyways. So it was interesting to feel that on a machine that was kind of guiding your path of motion. Then I did this reverse pec deck machine, pec deck rear delt fly machine that has pads for the elbows. So you set up with your chest on the pad and you actually just stick your elbows in and push back for a rear delt fly that way. I fell in love with this thing. I've seen these before on the internet, but I've never actually used one, and it definitely lives up to the hype. It's a different feeling than doing a normal rear delt fly on the pec deck because you're completely taking your wrists out of it and you can just push back by the elbow, which is how you should be trying to do it on a pec deck anyways, but this just makes it 10 times easier to do so. Then I did just a simple hammer strength shoulder press. This one was bilateral, so I was pressing with both arms. I couldn't do a unilateral press for this, and then they had a unilateral press right next to it, but I didn't end up using it. So bilateral just means both arms at once. I loaded this one up pretty heavy and tried to go for some heavy presses for shoulders there. And then I started getting excited and I started adding in some arms. So I started with a barbell upright row. You guys have seen these a billion times before, especially if you've done the kickstart. Just leading with the elbows, squeezing your lateral delts and your rear delts as you pull the barbell up. I did a drop set every set, and then after the drop set I went right into a preacher curl. Nothing new here, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but just some more volume for my shoulders and my arms. Then I did this tricep extension machine. I am falling in love with machines like this. Basically you stick your armpit in the pad like you would like a preacher curl, and then you push down with the outer side of your hand and squeeze your triceps to push the weight down. And this one was really smooth. It really fit how my body works very well. Even though the seats are adjustable, sometimes the lengths of the machines can be kind of awkward for me because I have unevenly long arms, but this one felt really good and I could go really heavy on these tricep extensions. So if you have a machine that looks like this at your gym, I highly suggest giving it a go. It will feel so awesome. And You could actually change where you feel the tension on this machine, so you could change the settings so that you feel it at the end of the movement or towards the middle or towards the beginning, which I thought was really, really, really cool. And I kept the settings at the end of the movement. So when I squeezed my triceps, that was where I was feeling the most tension. Then I moved on to this preacher curl machine, and I actually superset it with this flat chest fly machine. So preacher curls you guys have seen before. I'm not going to say much about this except for the fact that this was a very smooth machine. It's just a Hammer Strength brand, and I really, really liked it. I love preacher curls so much. And then I superset it with this really unique chest fly machine. So it's just like the pec deck rear delt fly machine that I was using earlier, where it has the pads for the elbows, except it's a flat bench chest fly. So it's essentially the same thing as mimicking a pec deck, but you're taking your wrists, your forearms, and your grip out of the movement, and you're really just thinking about your chest squeezing, and the contraction was so much better with this machine, so I was really excited about this. This is actually a newer machine that they have at the gym, and I absolutely fell in love with it, as I did with every piece of equipment that was here, but you know, nothing new there. Then I finished off the workout with a superset standing single arm Arnold press, superset with tricep rope push downs. So this was the last thing I did, I think. So with the Arnold press, you're bringing the dumbbell out and then around in front of your face, then pressing up. I did single arm because a lot of the stuff I did this day was bilateral, and like I said, I have uneven arms, and uneven arms in size, in muscle size as well. When I got my body fat scanned, I got that completely confirmed. My right arm has less muscle than my left. Weird, I know, but that's just muscular imbalances for you. Everyone has them and they're normal, but we can train to better them. So I was doing them unilaterally to make sure that I hit my right arm just as well as I did my left, and then I moved right into the tricep push downs with the rope. Nothing new here, you guys have seen all of that before. But hopefully you guys liked this footage. Hopefully if you ever get the chance to go down to Virginia Beach that you do so and try this gym out. I promise it is 1,000% worth it. Throw VB Iron a follow on Instagram. They're really killing it with their posts right now. They're showing you guys all their equipment, showcasing what they have. They just got mag grips in. They're getting some cool new leg equipment in the next couple of months. So hopefully I can go back down there soon. But make sure to throw them a follow so you're up to date with all the cool equipment that they're bringing in. And I just want to say thank you to Kenny and Jen for being such amazing hosts. Thanks for letting me train at your gym, and hopefully you guys like this video as well. Guys, give this video a thumbs up for a sick workout, 2 workouts actually, that you guys can get some ideas from. Make sure to hit the subscribe button for more content coming very soon, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.